Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle something that's, honestly, a game changer for your English fluency, adverbs of time. Getting these right is one of the fastest ways to make your speaking sound so much more natural and polished. So let's get right into it.
So, here's what we've got lined up. First, we'll cover the basics, what these things even are. Then, we'll look at the different kinds of time expressions you can use. After that, we'll get into the super important part, where to put them in a sentence. We'll even cover what to do when you have more than one. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the key takeaways. Sound good? Let's do it. All right, first things first. Section 1. Let's get right down to the basics. What exactly are adverbs of time? It's actually pretty simple. An adverb of time is just a word, or sometimes a few words together, that tells us something about, well, time. That's their entire job in a sentence, to make it clear when something is happening. And to really understand them, you only need to remember 3 simple questions. That's it. They answer when, how long, and how often. And honestly, if you can just burn these 3 questions into your brain, you're already halfway there. Seriously. Let's look at how this works in real sentences. For when, you might say, I called my friend last night. Boom, there's your answer. For how long? Maybe something like, they lived in Canada for 2 years. And for how often, you get, he usually drinks coffee in the morning. See how those bolded words just zero in on the time? That's what they do. Okay, so we know what they do, but not all adverbs of time are created equal, right? We can actually group them into a few really handy categories. One of the easiest ways to think about this is like a timeline. You've got your adverbs for the past, for things that are already done, like a few days ago. Then you've got the present for what's happening this very moment, like right now. And of course, the future for what's coming up, like later. Simple, right? And hey, remember those other core questions we talked about? Well, the other categories link right back to them. You have adverbs of duration, which answer how long something happened, like all night. And you have adverbs of frequency, which answer how often, like sometimes. Pretty much every single adverb of time fits into one of these groups. Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. We know what they are, we know the types, but where do you actually put them in a sentence so you sound right, so you sound natural? This part is crucial. Rule number 1, the most common one, is super simple. Just stick it at the end. This is the default position. We met our teacher this morning. It just fits perfectly right there. So when in doubt, put the time adverb at the end. 9 times out of 10, you'll be correct. But what if you really want to emphasize the time? Well, that's when you break the rule and move it right to the front. So instead of saying, we will start a new unit next week, you say, next week, we will start a new unit. See that? All of a sudden, the when is the star of the show. It adds a little bit of drama. Now, there's a special case, a group of words that play by their own rules. These are your frequency words, things like always, often, sometimes, never. These little guys have a special spot. They almost always squeeze in right before the main verb. For example, she often visits her grandparents. You try putting often anywhere else and it sounds a bit clunky, All right, you ready for the pro-level stuff? What happens when you've got more than one kind of adverb in a single sentence? It sounds complicated, but there's a simple rule for this, and it's the secret sauce to sounding totally natural. Here's the magic formula. You just follow this order. How, then where, and then when. So you describe how something was done, where it was done, and then finally, when it was done. So, he spoke clearly, that's how. At the meeting, that's where. Yesterday, that's when. And the number one thing to remember? The time, the when, always gets the final word. Phew, that was a lot to take in, I know, but we went from the very basics all the way to the pro rules. So let's do a quick flyby of the most important points just to make sure it all sticks. So if you remember nothing else, remember these 3 things. First, it's all about those 3 questions. When, how long, or how often. Second, where you put them matters. The end is the default, the beginning is for emphasis, and that special middle spot is for frequency words. And third, if you're ever mixing adverbs, remember the magic order. How, where, and then when. Time always comes last. Look, the real secret here isn't just knowing the rules, it's using them. Don't just let this be information you heard. Try to actively build a few sentences today using these ideas. The more you play around with them, the more it just becomes second nature. So next time you're talking, just ask yourself that one little question. Am I making it clear when? It'll make all the difference.